Good evening, curse breakers, and welcome to the Giving of Thanks Hang Suite for 2019, aka Thanksgiving Day. It has been an amazing day. All sorts of family driven energy is permeating all in and around me, and it has been an equally intriguing day as I have been engaged in the unfolding of a 15 card spread with the Wild Unknown Tarot, as well as a 3 card foundation for resolution. And so, for the last 2 hours or so, I have been studying this layout and referring to the guidebook and decoding the message, if you will, with regards to the giving of thanks. An amazing message that is coming through. Amazing. So, of course, that is the primary focus for today's Hang Suite, even though we are in a very celebratory uh, hue of the evening. It is approaching 5 p.m., November 28th, 2019, Washington, D.C. And so while everyone is either in the midst of dinner, getting ready for dinner, mixing and mingling with friends and family, and being truly engaged in an authentic rites of passage to true expression, true love, true engagement, lots and lots of comfy sofa conversations going on, or at least I hope. So this will be amongst my contributions, and it will be supported not only by the information that's inside the guidebook, but also the Disney film, The Princess and the Frog, as well as the soundtrack, in addition to Mary Poppins Return. And so, keeping with the honorarium to watch uplifting, fantastical, what would be easily known as children's stories on Thanksgiving. I'm not exactly sure how eloquent this hang squeak is going to be. This will be the second Thanksgiving without my mom. And inside of my family structure, my mom's house was the place where no matter what was going on throughout the year, Thanksgiving was her day to host. And she'd say it too. I may not hit you on the 4th of July, may not even do Christmas or New Year's. But what you can bet on is that you can come through here on Thanksgiving. That will be my one holiday that I host within the family ring, and everyone can meet here. Interestingly enough, um, no one else from my mom's side. Um, has picked it up yet as a tradition. Now, and when I say tradition, meaning that everyone come through. Um, and I know it's still fairly new. So I am allowing this transition to properly take its course and have hopes that within the next year or so, um, a host will step up. Now, of course, I toggle between it being me, and more than likely it will be. Um, but we'll see how that goes. I almost plummeted down a rabbit hole. I was like about to mentally check out of this hang suite and go somewhere else for a moment. So, okay, so let me reel it in. Let me reel it in. I will say this. uh, the Princess and the Frog support of this reading will serve as the train tracks. It will serve as the train tracks. Mainly because I found out maybe an hour after watching the film on the phone with my daughter BB. Even though she had to do the early shift today, it was pretty light. Come to find out, she was watching the same film. I thought that was amazing. It's like, oh wow, we were inside the same energy. Now I personally was tapping into the energy of the film storylines. Of course, I identified with Tiana, but also because it always strikes me a bit odd at the associations around the, and I can't the tarot reader, Mr. Oh, I can't even think. I can't remember his name right now, and I didn't write it down. And as many times as I've seen the film, for some reason, I just want to call him the witch doctor, knowing it's not necessarily a witch doctor, but it all excuse me, it always strikes me odd at how mainstream depicts tarot and astrologers and those that deal in the metaphysical realms, um, the inner healing realms, especially with regards to shadow work. So I went back to review. For one, I love the balance side of the witch doctor, which is Mama Odie and the energy that she brings with the wisdom and how the very same information and the very same enchanting powers around so called divination and fortune telling and the reading of the cards and the um, engagement of certain energies and powers can also be used for tremendous good, life changing, curse breaking, positive good. Also, very enchanting is that Mama Odie, her physical eyes, she's blind, but she sees everything. I also like it because I love the way Disney structured the story around the curse breaking through the kissing of the frog by a true princess. Following Juju, the web series, it ties in. Maybe I'll appoint that as well as a Hang Suite supporter because my cultural denomination still is very slow to grab hold of the understandings around such things. We stay spooked out, we shun, we run. And the more and more I stand in my purpose discoveries around my knowledge to begin to fluently speak through the laying of cards and the structuring of numbers and the interpretation of symbols and signs, the more and more I'm understanding that there is a vast communication system inside the wild unknown. And all one has to do truly is learn, understand, learn, and fluently speak the language, comprehend the language, strive to comprehend the language. It's amazing because it almost feels like these messages are are standing just outside of my personal hemisphere, waiting for me to seek it, tap into it, decode it, interpret it, and share it. So I used The Princess and the Frog as a clarifier, as well as a guiding light to understanding the message of this particular card layout, which is attached to this recording so that you may also take a look at it. Hopefully, you already have your Wild Unknown Tarot deck and guidebook, which can be purchased from Amazon. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, it'll come the very next day. Quite inexpensive for such a delightful deck. And it really is as easy as ordering the deck, arriving with the deck, and just opening up the deck and spending some time with the deck. Spending some time with the guidebook, laying out the cards, becoming familiar with the images of each card. Inside the guidebook, it truly lays out a firm understanding of what each card means in relation to traditional tarot. And so, as I say often, that most of my hang suites are not for everyone. They are uploaded into the public domain solely for the purpose of easy access for those whom are studying with me, alongside me, so that this information can begin to travel the grapevines in a more positive light. If it had not been for several due diligent tarot teachers graciously sharing what they were learning and discovering, I'm not sure that I would be here in this very moment decoding these levels of messages, which I like to say are readings for the sake of multi. Huh. Let me slow down. These readings are for the sake of reversing the curses of multi generational agendas. I want to say for maybe about 7 or 8 years now, I've had this undying ache to get to the more southern side of the Eastern Shore. My grandmother, my father's mother, she has roots in Georgia and in Florida, um, concentratedly that I am aware of. My grandpa, my dad's dad, is Louisiana, Shreveport, sprinkles in, I can't say directly inside of New Orleans, but sprinkled within proximity. And so New Orleans specifically has been calling to me. Watching the Princess and the Frog danced with the delight of some of those visions that have been coming to sit with me and inviting me, if you will, to engage in the probabilities of such. I'm not exactly sure where it all ties in. So we're going to talk this thing through. And remember, it's the giving of thanks. But I think generationally, we get tied up in sorrow, and within our shadow sides, we lose sight of what it is that we are intrinsically thankful for. And most of the time, it's around family and money. And money can be through professional means or the lack thereof, or through the channels of inheritance. But most often, we struggle with the generational gaps. Uh, what can I say? Emotional unrest due to the ebbs and flows of funds and foundation. So, once again, when the cards began to flow out, I was a bit intimidated. The messages always seem to be so bleak when they first start out. But then, as the cards continue to pop out, a more bigger picture reveals itself, and hope always finds its way. So the first card out was the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And so we're going to read from the guidebook. And also, before I get started, let me just say the the first card out in every reading I use as the overall energy. It's the theme of the reading, as well as the center card of the spread and how they tie into and what it's telling me in association with everything else around it. So when you get a chance to look at the photo that I have attached to this recording that shows the layout, you'll see that the themes, the oh, hold up, the theme, as well as the two cards that I have associated with resolution, is off to the left, and then the 15 card spread is together. Inside the heart of the spread is the Three of Wands, which lets me know, even though we are very grateful and very thankful for all that we do have and the family engagements and support that we have, that we as a collective still have our heartstrings all twined up in the underlying brew of sorrow and heartbreak and misunderstanding and false judgment. What I was delightful to see is that there is remedy, there is hope, as well as the mother, the daughter, the son, and the father is on the board, which means everyone's accounted for. Everyone has a place. And after all the cards found their way and secured their placement, looking at the entire spread, aka the bigger picture, it's starting out with the Ten of Pentacles being in reverse just lets me know that that is where we start, but that is not where we end. So focus will not be on money. The way to turn the Ten of Pentacles in reverse upright will have nothing to do with the hustle and bustle of gathering pentacles. And the reason why it is in reverse from the start is because our focus is off. So invisibly, intrinsically, you may be able to collect on a level of the Ten of Pentacles. But as a foundation, it's wobbly, it's in reverse because the focus is off. So let's get started. The first card out is the Ten of Swords. And I know it's a bit bleak, but trust me when I tell you that it gets better. So you know what, now that I think about it, so before I even go there, let me just read you what the Ten of Pentacles is in the upright, and then I'll just allow it to linger while we go through the rest of the reading. And you can, if you will, allow your mind to toggle back and forth of how this can be in reverse in association with how you are maneuvering in the world and how it may be contribute to the collective. What part of it are you playing in it either being an upright Ten of Pentacles or the reverse Ten of Pentacles? So Ten of Pentacles, fulfillment and abundance. It's on page 152 and 153 of the guidebook. The Ten of Pentacles signifies material and spiritual abundance in nearly every area of your life. The number 10 usually indicates completion, and in this case, the journey was well worth it. So be generous, not only with your money, but also with your wisdom. Provide guidance to those who struggle. You will be rewarded tenfold. Now remember, that's the ultimate. It right at this moment, at the beginning of the spread, at the beginning energy, it is in reverse. So from that summary that I just read, you can begin your analysis, your pro-personal analysis at how you are measuring up. Because remember, the more we chase and hold on to the pentacles, the faster it's going to leave or be slow to arrive. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I can't really say that I had the lesson down pat. This reading alone put me in class. Okay, so let's move to the Ten of Swords, which is the actual first card of the 15 card spread. Page 122 and 123 inside the guidebook. Ten of Swords, ruin, rock bottom, melodrama. When the Ten of Swords appears, you finally hit rock bottom. You've let others walk all over you while you play the victim. Is it possible that you love the backstabbing and drama too much to move forward without it? If not for drama, what would you focus on? It's time to find out. Now remember when I said, seeing that these two cards, this was before any of the other cards came out, I was hop, skipping, and jumping. This tightrope of some type of emotional, like, oh my gosh, this is a reading for Thanksgiving. What in the world are we dealing with? But the end of the summary asks a good question, which could work as an intellectual and an emotional seeding for future harvest. Because truly the question is, if not for drama, what would you focus on? Remember, we are tapping into the resolutions that will turn the Ten of Pentacles, aka the ultimate experience of life, of human life. We're working to turn that upright. So if drama was not the thing that we're focusing on, what would it be? If your life was not full of unnecessary drama, where where would you be placing your focus? If all that ailed you, all that hurt your feelings, all that has you all stressed out, if that was miraculously somehow instantly removed, what would you allow yourself to focus on? And so the next card out is the Seven of Pentacles, which is on page 146 and 147. Seven of Pentacles, period of contemplation. A curious card. The Seven of Pentacles shows a period of contemplation and uncertainty. You're looking back at all of your hard work and wondering if it has been a failure or a success. You can't seem to decide. Shouldn't you be reaping more rewards by now? Maybe so. But the mind has control over perception. It's possible your rewards are waiting for you to recognize them. They are not always monetary. Yet again, one of the more harder lessons for me. Being a worker inside of the worker bee's mindset had done me a grave injustice with me and how I viewed my esteem and my worth in conjunction to the amount of income that I could generate. And it was so embedded in me that I literally had to hit rock bottom and find other means by which I could tap into value, tap into the affirmations that proved to me that I was able, valuable, valuable without any props of financial means. I had to find my value outside of my coin, outside of my pentacle. Inside the world of tarot, the Seven of Pentacles is also known as the divinely timed card because it is associated with the earth elemental. And there is nothing that generates or regenerates hastily when it's in association with earth. Everything has its season and its cycle, and you cannot force it or delay it by any means. It has its pace. Patience truly is a virtue when dealing with the earth elemental. When you're tapping into earth magic, when you're dealing with the grounding and the releasing of certain energy blockages or energy flows. Let's just say the ebb and flow of energy with regards to the physical realm itself. All material is represented within the symbol of the pentacle. The next card is the Son of Wands. And I'm going to read the summary and then I'm going to tap into what this has meant to me personally while contemplating this spread. So the summary is on page 66 and 67. Son of Wands, charming and adventurous. The Son of Wands is a true charmer. He's handsome and adventurous and seems to say all the right things. Some call him the White Knight of the Tarot. But at some point, you may find he becomes hard to know. Trust your instinct with this one. Perfection is an illusion. Now, when you take a look at the card layout, you will see that the Son of Wands is directly over the Three of Swords, which is the heart of the spread. Followed right underneath it, the Mother of Wands. And we'll get to that in just a few, but I just wanted to take note of the stack within the middle of the spread, or should I say the spine of the middle of the spread. Instantly, what came to me while looking at this is that quite a bit of our heartache comes from us believing in this thing called perfection. I am a Virgo moon, Virgo rising. So dealing with perfection, the tug of war that comes along with an addiction to wanting to be perfect is mind boggling all in itself. Now, most folks that know me don't really know the level by which I struggle with perfection. Like, they really don't understand my war zone, my tug of war with perfection. And this has been from the womb. I have rebelled against it quite a bit. Some that knew me very well in high school could tell you that I was rebellious just because. Twined up in the emotions of always wanting to be pleasing and still falling short, and the avalanche of disappointment that surrounds all of that, and then not having the ability to reconcile, it piles up. Like that, the emotional energy that surrounds disappointment and sorrow can clog up the aura, if you will. I have had my entire psyche hardwired around my ability to be perfect, which would never be. But what I'm most thankful for is those encounters. So now, in hindsight, I actually have firsthand experience to pull from. Now that I understand that the only thing that's perfect within this realm is timing. And I know we got folks that fuck time. There is no such thing. Woo, 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 woo. And in actuality, inside of this realm and even parallel dimensions, there is timing. And it is a tool by which we understand our moment to moment existence. And so now in my book, that's the only thing that's perfect, especially divine timing. That type of synchronicity that has serendipity infused all in it. So the next card is the Eight of Pentacles. And this is one of my more favorite cards as a Capricorn. So the Eight of Pentacles is on page 148 and 149 of the guide. Craftsmanship and skill. The spider is a true master of her craft. She weaves against all odds with skill, intricacy, and confidence. The Eight of Pentacles requires a similar approach. Hone your skills. You are close to finding mastery at your craft, so strive for it. Pay attention to all the details. In some cases, this card means you need to find a new hobby, something you truly enjoy. So start a project and become good at it. I think many that will bump into this hang suite and actually do hang out for a while and become truly and authentically tapped into the scholarship that is being revealed here will say, or at least be able to slightly affirm, if not completely affirm, that quite a bit of their gratefulness or their levels of thankfulness is entwined in those moments when they are able to create, when they are able to produce, especially if they are creating and producing something that depicts the true meaning of purpose for them. And it's really the creme de la creme if, in fact, any of this creation or production can be put inside the marketplace and generate revenue, can be exchanged inside the marketplace that allows one to sustain livelihood and lifestyle. Hard work paying off, those hobbies for hire, the hobby lobbies with legacy and legend attached to them, like those, that's some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. If we're able to suspend judgment around the spider and the web, we would see that webs are very intricate designs and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. It's an assortment to the species of spider as well as the webs that they weave. Honestly, works of art. So, as long as we stay out of the realm of being addicted to perfection, understanding that there is time and patience needed to weave such webs, our increase of gratitude is automatic. which is a perfect segue into the next card, which is the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is on page 80 and 81 of the guidebook. Four of Cups. Greed and discontent. When we weave the web and we get confirmation that it is a very unique and wonderful design, and we step outside of the addiction to be perfect, and we are at some point able to satisfy our agendas to master craft, there runs the risk of greedy discontentment. So the Four of Cups. An outsider will look upon your life and see supportive relationships, pleasures, and even a bit of luxury. But you don't see it that way. Instead, there's discontent, apathy, and even greed for more. The Four of Cups warns not to take your situation for granted or the people who supported you along the way. Look around you. What are you truly longing for? Name it. And I think it's the perfect card for the last card of the top tier, because it reminds us that even when we do stand in the position where we are making money and we do not have any false illusions of perfection, and we are understanding the cycles of reap and sow, and we are not worried inside of Ten of Swords energy about what we're making and what we are contributing, and watching money and watching coins and being completely feverish about our ability or inabilities to generate pentacles, that we begin to understand that there are sources, there are infusions of love and support that sometimes we may either neglect or be slow to um, identify. And so the card, when I see it, it reminds me that everything does not have to be luxurious, and that I have to watch what I could easily take for granted, and that I have to continue to look around. I have to look around and stay inside that focus of that which truly resonates and is constructive, if you will. And so the next card out is the Son of Swords. Where are we? The Son of Swords is, let's see here, page 126 and 127 of the guidebook. Son of Swords, forceful, determined. A dynamic creature, the Son of Swords is a man of action, not grace. He pushes forward toward his goal with urgency and determination. To top it off, he's very well educated, making him a force to be reckoned with. Usually he's seeking approval from the patient and just Father of Swords, who casts quite a shadow upon his son. Working with this stimulating and exhausting young man can prove to be a challenge. I think we're stepping into an era where we are losing sight of how valuable our challenges are, how valuable our determination is, and that the approval of the patient father is still very, very important, especially inside my cultural denomination. The fact that the son still looks up for the dad's approval is irreplaceable, immaculate, and invaluable in my opinion. It's imperative. Forceful and determined ought to be the son that continues to strive and be this dynamic creature. And I'll say this before I move on. Understanding that working with the energy of the Son of Swords is stimulating and yet exhausting. It reminds me that I ought not to always want to hit the easy button. That massive wisdom comes through the heart of struggle, the heart of conquered challenges, and that to always expect it to be easy and perfect is illusionary. Okay, so the next card, right before the heart of the spread, is the Seven of Wands, courage, inner strength, which is on page 56 and page 57 of the guidebook. A single wand stands up tall, ablaze with light. The others fall away in shadow. Such is the story of the Seven of Wands. You'll not find any strength or support from others, only yourself. It's time to be truly courageous and stand up for your beliefs. You may feel overwhelmed with caution and fear, but your internal fire will guide the way. Having this card just before the heart of the spread, which is the Three of Swords, heartbreak. We'll get to that card in a moment. Reminds me that the card does not. Reminds me that the heart does not have to be broken. That our grapevines of gratitude is what will uh, quench the thirst or render the nectar. How about that? Will will render the salve of the brokenhearted. The strength and the support needed to mend broken hearts is within. You will not find any strength or support from others, only yourself. It's time to be truly courageous and stand up for your beliefs. Most of the time, outside of romance, most of the time, sorrow and heartbreak comes from unmet expectations and unstable beliefs. I wanted to say faulty beliefs, but I'm going to refrain. And maybe I shouldn't even have said it, but I need to give context to gain an understanding for my choice of words. So, our beliefs is a multi-dynamic entity all on its own. According to how we believe truly does give power to what we will do or won't do or say or won't say. Think or don't think, feel or don't feel. And remember, a broken heart or a crushed uh, esteem, vacant esteem, um, crushed confidence has all to do with what it is we believe, what it is that we are saying or not saying to ourselves. And it's a revolving door around that. Our belief is a revolving door around our heart into the corridors between our head and our heart. All of the magic is within the corridors of is within the energetic spine of our chakras, from our crown to our root. Like they say, from the rooter to the tutor. And so the Three of Wands, and just seeing it inside of the middle of this spread. I'm sorry, the Three of Swords. Seeing it inside of this spread in the heart just lets me know that so many of us, even though we are perfectly grateful, thankful, it does not minimize the gratitude that we are able to usher in by way of our experiences, good, bad, or different. As a collective, we are still existing with the murmurs of generational brokenness. And it's mainly the heart and the mind, aka our personalities or our emotionality, that's suffering. And most often than not, we are uh, having our attention be directed towards a broken mind while totally neglecting the broken heart. Where do broken hearts go? Because right now, they always want to either usher them into the asylum or send them into some therapist's office and pump them full of exotic synthetic cocktails, aka antidepressants and anxiety controllers or inhibitors or whatever the fuck that's going on around here these days. None are adequate to deal with the balancing and the wholehearted healing between the head and the heart. So let's read it. So the Three of Swords is on page 108 and 109 of the guidebook. Three of Swords, betrayal, heartbreak, turmoil. A dark and complex card. The Three of Swords is rarely a welcome sight. Its wrath may come in the form of lies, betrayal, cheating, or heartbreak. There will be emotional entanglement, and confusion. Do not try to make any decisions while in this state. Wait for your heart and spirit to mend. Now, it's easy to read that, but when you're in the eye of heart of brokenheartedness, what would be the efficient practices and exercises to ensure that your heart and your spirit will mend properly? And I really wonder how many within my um, collective cultural denomination halt their decision making processes until their heart and spirit has mended. Like, who actually gives themselves time to have a to have a broken heart? We automatically want to think that we're going crazy, we're losing our mind, instead of we're losing our heart. or that our heart is bleeding, or it's seeping energy at a rapid pace that could truly be detrimental to our entire existence. We don't want to admit that we're feeling anything, let alone healing anything. I walked around with a broken heart and ignored it for so long. Why? Because I didn't believe that I was brokenhearted for one. Because feeling some kind of way is for punks. And that just doesn't go over too well around these parts. So you ignore it. You act like it doesn't exist. You don't admit that you are actually the one that's going through it. I spent more time being in disbelief about the challenges that I was being faced, losing terribly, might I add. Even to the point that I had the nerve to even look at it in a win-lose type of situation. Getting down to the bottom of why I perceived it to be that way was all healing in itself. And then I had to embrace the notion that I actually do have a heart and I do feel things and it does hurt. And I am going to cry right damn now. And I'm going to say I'm hurt. So let's tap into the next card, which is the Daughter of Wands, also known as the Page of Wands. On page 64 and 65. Daughter of Wands, visionary, passionate. The Daughter of Wands is a free spirit, a truly visionary creature. She usually waits until later to settle down or start a family, as she's busy with her career. She can be stubborn and much stronger than she looks. As with all the Wands family, the daughter makes a dangerous enemy. This card can also represent a woman going through a transformation or spiritual breakthrough. Now, it's no secret, definitely not if you've been hanging in with this channel. It's no secret that I wholeheartedly believe that there is an immaculate ushering of divine energy, divine feminine energy, divine energy, period. But of course, there's two sides to the energetic coin, divine feminine, divine masculine. That there's been a thrust, a turbo boost of divine feminine energy that is permeating around this entire dimension, and those that are tapping in and seeking is being strengthened through certain awarenesses and insights and wisdoms and language immersion practices that is unlocking and opening up certain portals and understandings of unique life, highly unique life. But you have to seek it. You have to be the free spirit with a true vision of transformation and spiritual breakthrough. But doing so in the unlocking of these portals and intricate details, you will find enemies. Why? Because just by the free spirit curiosity alone goes against the social conditioning of the multi-generational agendas that has kept this social strata the way that it is. But because we are on the brink of 2020, I believe that this new uh, ushering in a decade is calling for a different series of circumstances. And I honestly believe that the energy around the Daughter of Wands is ushering this thing through, or is amongst the major energies that's ushering this thing through. With that said, we're going to tap into the next card, and that is the Two of Swords, which is on page 106 and 107. Blocked vision, stalemate. The Two of Swords depict two opposing forces that have reached a stalemate. You cannot progress forward with neither a relationship or a life decision. There's an answer that's being blocked, maybe by choice. Many times, this card will indicate you do not wish to face the truth the light will reveal. It's hard to be a free thinker. It's hard to step outside the box. You can't think outside the box until you agree that there's a box that you have to step outside of. And only then will you be greeted with newness, elevated awareness, and consciousness that allows you to see things for what they are and then make a choice one way or the other. But right now, everything's at a stalemate because of this thing called implied consent, as well as unnecessary distractions and people pleasing, still believing in this illusionary thing called perfection and competition and all the other things that dance around in this reality. And so, with that said, what we're going to do is go into intermission. Um, I have several things that are now popping into my head that I would like to contemplate and bring to the second half of this hang suite. Now, what I know for a fact is that I'll pause it so it'll seem like just a moment to you, but in real time, I am going to take a few moments to reconcile a few thoughts that are coming in, and then we will come back and wrap this up. So please stand by for a moment.